Okay, we'll call the May Park Board meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is our roll call. You want to do the roll call, everybody?
Pam Brokaw, Tori Boomsma,
Here.
Don Buchholz.
Here.
Pat Casanova.
Here.
Karen Nessett.
Here.
Mike Kennedy.
Here.
Karen Stankovitz.
Okay. We've got to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any changes, corrections, or omissions that anybody caught? If
Move to
not,
approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. First item we have on our new business is election of officers for this year. So,
Yep, so obviously, per our ordinance, Park Board is to select officers on May 1st or the next meeting thereafter. So tonight, we are looking to approve both the chair and vice chair. Chair's responsibilities include speaking with me prior to the meeting to make sure all the agenda items are on the upcoming agenda that needs to be. And they obviously run the meeting. Vice chair steps in when the chair is not available. So those are kind of the roles and responsibilities. I would say it's a fairly simple job. Pat, you can probably speak to that.
I'm a simpleton.
So with that being said, I guess in previous years, we've just kind of opened it up to the floor and see if anybody's interested, and we'll go from there.
I'd like to nominate Pat Casanova as chair.
I'll second that one.
Okay, I'll do it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Call.
Call the roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Vice chair.
Anybody interested? Pat is very dependable. He's here 99% of the time, so.
I was vice chair for, 2 years now? I
Yeah.
had to stand in for one meeting. Yeah. So it's easy. If I can do it, yeah.
Okay.
Do we,
So,
do we have comments?
is that a nomination of Mike to do it again?
Don.
Oh, Don's going to do it. Good.
I'm sorry, Tori, what were you
Okay.
saying?
Oh,
All those
nothing.
in
I was
favor
just-
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Good luck. Thank you all. Next item we have on the agenda is,
Do we have any comments? Or I don't know if we had anybody here to speak.
Both gentlemen are here for agenda items.
Okay, thanks.
the item B on our agenda, the Crottley Lane Athletic Fields, the renaming of them. Is that what
Yeah.
you guys are here for? Why don't you take the podium and say who you are and
Yeah, my name is Scott Johnson. I'm on the Hudson Booster Board, also the Hudson Booster Softball Commissioner, fourth generation Hudsonite and third generation Hudson Booster. We are proposing, as a Hudson Booster Board, to rename the Crottley Fields to John Herrick Park. Do you need me to read this whole thing, or do you guys have it?
no, we had it in our packet. Does
Okay,
anybody have any
I just wanted to
additional
make sure.
questions to them?
Obviously, I think most of you know who John Herrick is, but just kind of a recap, 39 years on the Hudson Booster Board. He also served on numerous other boards. He's been on the basketball board, basically been the head person down at Booster Days for a number of years. I think his reputation kind of precedes himself. Crottley was kind of just not, it was never really a name, we just named it after the road at the time. So I would like to propose to name it John Herrick Park. And then we will put monument out front. We'll take care of all the costs and everything on that as well.
Can you just remind the board what the monument, what would it say on the monument?
I would just say John Herrick Park. And there's a sidewalk when you go into Crottley. We're going to put it on the end of that, basically between the fence and the concession stand.
Is there a motion to approve?
Well, I just have a question. In looking at the policy,
Yeah.
the number 2 guideline is that it needs to be posthumous.
Yeah, it's So 2 and 3, so we do have a policy that was enacted or adopted by Common Council back in 1994. And first one is names of historic significance for Hudson individuals, places, groups, or events. Second one is obviously the posthumous dedication shall be considered. The third one is individual or group donating real estate for park significant development costs and or equipment shall have the right to suggest a name dedication for that park as long as the name dedication is consistent with the Hudson Park Board policy on naming parks within the Hudson Park system. I did check with our city attorney on this, and he looked at number 3 and saying that, seeing that this is a unique situation in John's stature within the community, the Hudson Boosters, and without him, those fields wouldn't have been possible, that he felt comfortable bringing it forward to Park Board based on item number 3 and moving forward with that.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing that he did mention, and Scott, I didn't really bring this up to you prior to coming here, is the Cratley Fields as they stand right now aren't considered a park. It's not in our outdoor rec plan. It's not identified as a park. Okay.
It's not in the city of Hudson.
It is in the city.
It is
It is city of
considered?
Hudson
Okay.
land. Yep. It is a unique situation up there. It obviously was the old dump.
Yeah.
Right? And the city of Hudson still owns that property. And so
That's a catch-22.
it's a catch-22. I don't know if the Hudson Boosters would be amenable to maybe change it to like John Heering Athletic Fields, or if you want to keep the park. I don't know. As soon as you say park in there, it's,
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely open for whatever you guys recommend.
okay.
It doesn't have to be John Herrick Park, it could be
Field
John
would be,
Herrick
field would solve the
Fields.
problem.
Right.
Yep, that's
Field
fine.
will
Yeah, then there's,
John Herrick Fields.
there's no
yeah.
conflicts at all with
be
that.
compliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, because it is an outdoor open space. It does, fall within our jurisdiction and the ordinances. So that was just the one thing I wanted to kind of clear up and kind of just make everybody aware, because technically it isn't a park.
Yeah.
So the motion would be to name it the park as opposed to the other.
Field.
I
Yeah.
mean, field instead of park, and they're acceptable to that, acceptable to us, so somebody want to make the motion to that effect?
I'll move.
One second.
Karen and Mike have made a motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
thank you for your time.
Thanks for all that you guys do.
Yeah,
you
thank
bet.
you very
Yeah.
much. Good luck this season. Thank you. So, Scott, just let you know, this will be on the May 15th Common Council agenda under
Okay.
consent. And so it might be prudent to have some representation there just in case someone has a question from the council.
Okay, and that was May 15th?
May 15th at
Okay.
7 o'clock. Yep.
Great, thank you very much.
Scott.
Okay, that was it for new business. Under old business, we've got the Women's Park restroom.
Yep. So the council approved this at one of their previous meetings here, and so it kind of kickstarts this project, and seeing that we're kind of in the beginning stages, I invited Brian Hines from EA Studios to come to the meeting tonight, and basically just, I want to walk through kind of just some initial design thoughts from the park board, and have kind of a conversation with Brian, so that as he begins to prepare the plans and specs for the project, he has an idea of what we're looking for. And so the goal tonight is to, like I said, talk through some design elements, and then come the next month's park board meeting, we would bring it back for review and authorize staff to go out for bid. So that's kind of why we're here tonight. And so Brian nicely joined us, and I guess we'll start with just maybe, what do you want covered? Just overall general concepts, or what you're looking for, or?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I'm always grateful and appreciative to do work for the city. So having our business here, I live right next to a park. It's always fun to do a park project for the city of Hudson. So thank you for that. I think maybe if we just start, Mike, by looking at the case study, an example of what we kind of modeled this particular park design after, right? So we kind of have three to look at, right? White Camp being the largest, the most restrooms, the most picnic space, then more recently Grandview, right? So they have a men's and a women's, as well as some picnic space, sheltered space. and then Anderson being the smaller of those three, right, with a little bit of picnic space on either side, and then a single-use, facility, toilet facility in the middle. And so I think what Mike and I had to discuss to this point is that it would be mostly like Anderson Park. And so unless anyone has any other thoughts on that, that would be a single bathroom use, would have a urinal and a toilet, but it would be a single user bathroom. Has a janitor's closet on the back side of that for, with a sink and washing facilities in it.
Yeah.
It has very small but dual kind of picnic areas on either side of that toilet room. And so if anyone thinks they would like to see something a little bit larger than that, maybe more similar to Grandview, that would be an option as well.
It would be nice.
Yeah, so
That's a heavy use part.
our budget is $175,000. I know, speaking of the Grandview Park Shelter, that one came in at, it was around 225, I believe, off the top of my head. So obviously, we wouldn't be able to go full build out like that one, but that one had a storage room.
Yeah.
That was
That
attached
had a
to that, we
large
wouldn't-
storage room
Yeah.
component to it,
Yeah,
yes.
I think, just based on my experience building these things, I think there's a couple different options that the park board can go. Obviously, you can build something similar to what's at Anderson, where it's a single unit with a shelter, attached to it. If you want to go separate restrooms, maybe you just do separate restrooms without the additional pergola shelter. I think you would kind of swap the two restrooms for the shelter.
Correct.
I don't know if you'd be able to get separate restrooms, the janitor's closet, the water closet, and the pavilion within our budget.
Yeah, I think that would be a challenge
Yeah.
at that point, yeah.
So I guess the question to the board tonight is, do you want to mirror it after Anderson, where you have just a unisex bathroom with the attached picnic shelter? Or do you want to have separate restrooms and no shelter?
I don't know that we need a shelter. I mean, there's shelters at the park already. Right, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need a picnicking area by the toilet.
There's one old shelter that should probably be taken down. But that could be included in a future project, to build a couple of
Yeah.
pavilions.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
You live across from the Anderson Park
I
restroom.
do.
Do a lot of people use that shelter, or is it?
Yeah, it gets used by moms with little babies as they watch the kids play in the sand.
Okay.
So that's primarily how it gets used. I was thinking the funds could be more efficiently used if you had a standalone bathroom with janitor's closet, separate just a freestanding shelter for shade, which could be a lot less because you just have to put poles in and a roof area. And I think you do some cost containment and get more for your money.
More bang for the buck.
Yeah, more bang for your buck. And it would work.
Yeah. Because I can see where Tori's coming from, where who's picnicking next to the restroom? Yeah.
Other than
not
you're
my
standing there,
choice, but.
wait for the rain,
It's moms with babies,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it works for them.
Yeah.
Is there enough use of the park to warrant two bathrooms? Two separate bathrooms, as opposed to just the one?
Yeah. I know in the springtime, it gets
It's a busy-
inundated
that's a busy
with
park.
children coming from EP Rock, and we'll have 100 kids at the park at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's predominantly used by families and children, right? Because of the play equipment that's there.
Yeah, that's been the intent all along.
Yeah, so I really think 2 toilet rooms would serve that population really well, given that with that many children, it's tough to ask them to
Hold it.
hold and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd be unisex. They wouldn't be like a men's or women's bathroom. It'd just be a general use toilet.
Yeah,
in
we
each
could
one.
look at doing that. Generally, when we provide 2, we do a men's and women's
Okay.
per the
that's a
building
good
code.
point, Tori. I mean, and I don't mean to be the one, it's plugged into the, what's here now, but that is a discussion.
Well, I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking,
We'd avoid-
I've got a little girl, and the girl's bathroom is, if I have a little girl, the women's bathroom's being used, and there's a men's bathroom, well, I can't take her into the men's bathroom. But if it's
Yeah.
dual usage, then anybody can go at any time they absolutely need to get in there.
Especially for small children.
Especially with
that
little
makes
people,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. That's something we could discuss with David Gray.
It might keep us out of any kind of political storm too, of
Future.
genders going to a certain men or women only.
Yeah, so if we could just
Do
keep
the
it,
unisex.
Yeah.
Just do
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
unisex.
both available,
Both
you know,
unisex.
It's
both
happening
family.
everywhere.
yeah.
Just they're
Costs
putting
us
in unisex.
one more urinal,
Yeah.
that's all, right? That'd be one more urinal
Yeah.
into the women's bathroom that
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone if it was just a
That'd be
woman's
unisex.
bathroom.
Yeah.
If we make it unisex, we just add a urinal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think to control costs, we would just be doing a toilet
Toilet.
in
Yeah,
each
toilet.
Oh, okay.
of the two rooms, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think if we could, yeah.
Yeah, if we just did one room, then we would probably have a toilet and a urinal in that,
Okay.
just for cleanliness and the like, so.
Yeah, but obviously it would be designed to meet all the current ADA laws, enough room for access in and out.
And a little changing table thing, one of those.
Yep, yep, we can have them in there. So currently what's up there is something similar to what we're talking about, where it's just the restrooms and no pavilions or anything attached to it. And so you know, speaking for myself, I like the idea of just doing the two separate restrooms and then addressing the pavilions at a future
Okay.
CIP.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that makes the most sense.
I agree.
so too.
We don't need to get into nitty-gritty about color scheme. You and I will discuss that.
Yeah, once we have a design on paper, obviously,
Yeah.
we can review that at that meeting.
Okay.
To review all of those choices.
Brian, do you need anything else from us?
No, I don't think so. I think the only other item I was looking at, I mean, we will follow some of these other materials that we've been using on other facilities for you. And so we'll kind of keep that going, and I'll work through those selections with you, Mike. And then the other part of it maybe is the drinking fountain, right? Would be a nice element to be able to provide.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
With a doggy drinking.
Oh, yeah, a little doggy, yeah, that's a nice idea.
Is, I'm not,
There's a dog
you may not
park.
know this, but I'm not an architect, but is there any way to, you know, you mentioned the Anderson one is similar in size, or whatever. Obviously we're doing some changes, but is there a blueprint we can pull and start from rather than you having to start with a clean sheet of paper and say, all right, here we go? I mean, could we start standardizing these as
Nice to have.
facilities start, you know, getting older, if we want to add one to Lakefront Park or, you know, whatever, where we can almost just say,
Here's
Here
the
it is.
blueprint.
there's
That's
one. that we
the
built.
intent of what we have tried to do over time is take,
And have a modification here. Okay, so we're not just reinventing the wheel each time. Okay.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be a nice
Well, it makes sense.
thought. In theory, it makes sense. It's just each park has its own individual applications
Right.
and uses, and so
Yeah.
that's where it becomes challenging. But like you said, if we run across the park, let's just say it's, the new park down on the south side of town in St. Croix Meadows development, right? That's gonna be a very large park. I could see using either the Grandview architectural drawings or the White Camp drawings and plopping something
Yep.
down.
Right.
Yeah, that would
Yep.
make sense, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if we have, now that we kind of have three specific uses, within the last 5 years, well, White Camp's probably been up there for more like 10.
Yeah.
But now we kind of have three, sizes that we can
Right,
pick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
And that makes
start-
sense.
Yeah.
Here's the blueprint.
Yeah,
Do it.
exactly. So,
Yeah, because the color of the stone and all, I mean, that all looks great. It's,
And that's real money you save.
right. Okay. Anything else you need from us, Brian?
nope, excellent. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
You.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Was there any, we had talked before about moving the location of them. Is that still a discussion, or is that done?
Well, from what I recall, we kind of settled on maybe just moving it
Up a little bit?
up
Yeah.
30 or 40 feet to the north to try to utilize the current utility line, so we're not spending
Okay.
money on running
Okay.
those all over the park. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll have to include demo of the existing one.
Correct.
So, thank you. Get those things out of there.
Yep, we'll
Yeah.
have it all on there.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
and we really should put a note to file that any other facilities not that we have in our future budgets, we need to relook at those numbers and raise them substantially so it doesn't come back to bite us
Yeah.
like it did or it has in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep up with the rising costs of
construction,
materials and labor, yeah. Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Welcome, thank you.
Next item we have on our agenda is the sailing club.
All right, so after bringing this back here, in the issue sheet, kind of described what had happened after our last approval. So back in February of 2023, I brought forward a proposal from SEH to provide engineering and architectural services for the mooring stairs ramps on the south side of the dike road. Following that meeting, I was contacted by the Mooring Association, and they were just making sure that we were all on the same page with what they were looking for and what we were going to move forward with SEH. And based on that conversation that I had with them, I had kind of opened up the door to say, if you have, you know, someone in mind that would be able to do the same work and at a cheaper cost, feel free to submit something. And so they did, and it was a considerable amount less. And they're able to do the same permitting work and drawings and so on and so forth. And so the proposal that I had received was from Kroll Design Build LLC on the amount of $12,850, which was $17,000 less than what SCH had provided. And so that's why I'm bringing it back here for your discussion and a possible approval to move forward with the Kroll Design Build. If you move forward with it tonight, it would go on the next common council meeting, and work would start shortly thereafter.
It's something we've been kicking this can down the road for 20 years. And it's needed. I mean, it's dangerous scurrying up and down those rocks
Yeah.
and doing it, and it's great that they can do it that much cheaper.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have buy-in from the Mooring Association. I think the design will mirror what their needs are, and everybody's gonna be on the same page, and everybody's gonna be happy in the end. That was my biggest thing is, I don't wanna build something down there
Right.
that nobody's gonna be happy with, that they're gonna be upset with, so.
And the company's been vetted
Right.
as far as
Yep.
experience and everything.
Yep.
Well, then I would move to do this.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Is any further discussion? Anyone have any questions?
Mike, have you ever worked with these guys, or?
They're a local company.
Okay.
Yep.
So your comfort levels,
They've done other projects in town, and,
Vetted.
yeah, the main staff person is a mooring association holder.
oh, okay.
So I'm just putting that out there. Having said that, I know that he'll do a good job because
Because he's a mooring
he's a
owner.
mooring owner. He's not gonna skimp or cut corners or anything like that. He's gonna do it correctly. And, you know, like I said, if he does it incorrectly, he's gonna hear it from all the other association members, right?
Before you do. Yeah,
Before I
so
do.
your phone won't be ringing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and give them some ownership of the,
Correct.
of the plan.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going down there every weekend scurrying on the rocks, you know, so.
Yeah, I don't,
We're kind of guessing what they want. This is a great.
Yeah,
way to give them
exactly.
what they want, yeah.
exactly.
We had originally the money budgeted for 29,000.
Right. Yep, so.
Do two?
No, so this is just the engineering services. So they'll put together the plans,
Oh,
they'll do the
okay.
permitting. Yep,
Okay.
and then they'll come up with the design for the 5 sets of staircases. And our current, so this is being paid out of the boat mooring account. So we set aside annually monies from the boat mooring account that goes in for future improvements of that area, and our current balance is $100,141.50. So this expense would come out of there and the construction of the actual staircases.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The splash pad in White Camp Park is our next item.
All right, so I said I would be bringing this back to you for more discussion. Prior to me going out to RFP, I want to have a decision made as far as what style of splash pad that we should pursue. And so basically there's two styles of splash pads, right? There is a recirculating splash pad, which uses chemicals, chemical pumps. The water stays in the system, it's recirculated throughout the season, right? The second type of system is a freshwater bypass system, where basically a user activates the feature. The water then comes from our utility lines, comes out of the feature for X amount of minutes, and then when it stops, it's done, goes out the drain, and it hooks into either a stormwater system or the sanitary system. I'm working with the DNR as far as what that would look like for us, because we have the stormwater pond there. There are some permitting that I would have to do. There's pros and cons to each one. I listed them in the issue sheets. Obviously, the recirculating system is more expensive to install up front, about $50,000 to $100,000 more up front, because you're having to pay for all the pumps, the mechanics, pump house, so on and so forth. And it's more expensive to maintain in the future, because with the chlorine, you're constantly, or I shouldn't say constantly, you're having to replace those pumps regularly. So I was a certified pool operator down in Wabasha, and you'd be surprised at how that chlorine just eats at lines, pumps, you name it. And with these recirculating system, we would have to have a staff member on hand that is a CPO, certified pool operator, and do daily testing to make sure that the chemicals are in the right balance, that there are chemicals present, so on and so forth, because if there's not and someone gets ill, obviously that can come back on the city. With the freshwater system, you don't have any of those regulations.
Could the freshwater system be utilized in a way for irrigation?
That's a good question. I don't.
I think that would just be smart.
Right. That's the argument against the freshwater system, is obviously it's a public perception of you're wasting water, right? And I get that.
But
but-
the irrigation you could do with it.
My question is, how can I phrase it? If we can quantify how much water it would be needed in the filtration system, right, how many gallons that is, and how many gallons per hour the thing is using up, how many hours do we get before we hit that crossover point?
Well,
But if you use it for irrigation,
No, I'm saying if we have the fresh,
general.
just without using the water after, I'm just saying how many gallons are we really gonna use compared to
yeah, I did.
the other?
I did do some calculations.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's 500 gallon tank of chlorinated water,
Yep.
right, and how many gallons an hour does it use when it's being activated?
When, the freshwater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many weeks, months do we go before we hit that, we're at 500 gallons again?
Yeah. So daily use of a splash pad, obviously, it depends on the size, the features that you have, but it's an average of 5,000 to 10,000 gallons a day for a freshwater system. So if it's open for 3 months,
Yeah.
90 days times, let's just take 7,000 gallons, 630,000 gallons of water. So then I calculated that out, it's approximately between $4,000 and $6,000 a year in water charges to operate it, a freshwater system.
Is saltwater
And
any?
what's the cost
dif-
per year for the?
For the recirculating, so chemical, it's pretty much a wash, to be honest with you. The operating, annual operating is pretty much a wash.
But the install,
It's
it's
the
the-
install upfront costs, and then it's the replacement costs of all the
And then
pumps.
maintenance and upkeep is.
And the maintenance and the,
Is there any difference between chlorine and salt? Like like they have
Yeah.
saltwater pools, is it,
you need to have chlorine.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's your
That's-
main disinfectant.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I think you mentioned in here too, to me that, I don't mind that we're balancing this versus that, but two words you brought up that is a staff member is going to have to be there daily. I know how many staff members you have just sitting around, right?
Yeah.
That scares me. And then this idea of, yep, we think that chlorine's good and whatever, then little Billy gets sick. I don't know who little Billy is, but anyway, he got sick. And all of a sudden, the city of Hudson is responsible for whatever perceived illnesses. This freshwater, to me, I'm with you that if there's a way we could, pump it and that's how we water the lawns or whatever, that would be a great add-on. But I think this closed system, I think just the hidden costs of more insurance, more of your staff
Staff.
time, these pumps, because basically the freshwater version is no different than than us putting a sprinkler out in the front yard and letting the kids run through it for a half hour, and you go, whoa, you know, we just
Yeah.
threw away a lot of water, but the kids had fun, but there's no safety or no, you know.
But
That
we
out,
watered our
that out.
grass.
Yeah,
you
you watered
watered
your
the lawn,
grass,
yeah.
yeah, right? So those are the two, that's the crossroads where we're at. It's like, what are we gonna feel comfortable with? Are we gonna, like I said, there is gonna be some public perception of a waste, but if we can find a way to
Yeah.
use that water,
Yeah.
capture it and
And that would
pump it.
always be available, and it does less harm to the environment. Less maintenance, less
Right.
upkeep,
Yeah.
less corrosion, less
Less
everything.
chlorine, yeah.
Less chlorine.
I would say.
It goes, if it go, if we can find it through, like the video we saw last night, goes to the river, like we just talked about. It's not going away. We're repurposing. Yeah, we're paying some bucks for it, but, you know, that's something that the city wanted is a splash pad, and it's not gonna be for free, but,
7,000 gallons is a lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
Yeah.
maybe we only give
And
them
obviously the
5
wells-
seconds of water when they push the button.
Obviously, the wells can handle that
Yeah.
load too and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But a retention pond. Or a place
Well,
to-
that's-
Or a way of saving it.
Yeah, if
Recycle.
that's the way that we want to go, I would explore the retention pond that's right next to it, either like lining it so that it captures the water where we can pump it daily for irrigation, you know, so it's not infiltrating into the ground or overflowing into the next pond where we, like I said, capture the water, use it in the park. Yeah, I mean, that's,
Back in the 40s and 50s, you go down River Road, Lake Malibu, they all had some pumps
Yeah.
that they threw in there, and they irrigated their lawns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a pretty simple system, simple pump system.
yeah. Okay. So is that,
But I hear us as a group saying that we would prefer to go with the freshwater system
Yes.
than a recirculating system.
Yep.
That's my belief.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so
that's
too.
kind of the consensus? Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'd
right.
like to make a motion that
Okay.
we use the freshwater system.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion, or anyone have any questions yet? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Woohoo.
That'll be a lot of fun.
What's the plan? No, like,
The timeline?
thank you, that's the word I'm looking for.
So I'll confirm this with Aaron Reeves, our city administrator, but I will put together an RFP for design and installation of a splash pad at White Camp Park that meets our budget. And in that, I'll have to incorporate, you know, the irrigation, so on and so forth, permitting. My intent is to get through that design phase, you know, kind of middle of the summer, have concepts come back to Park Board. And then probably make a decision. Obviously, there's probably gonna be some back and forth as far as what you like, what you don't like. I'd like to get something approved later on in the fall with
Okay.
maybe like a fall grading
Okay.
and then installation spring of 2024.
Oh, nice. All
That's
right.
what I'm shooting for.
Okay.
So, good question though.
Project updates.
Well, obviously, with the sun is actually out today, so people are gonna be out and about in the parks. We have 3 restrooms open so far. We'll continue to open those up the rest of this week, especially with the water going down now. We'll have to unplug some of our drains and toilets that we had plugged up. So that's obviously a big thing. Athletic events have been going on now for a couple weeks using our field, so staff is out there daily, dragging, lining, so on and so forth. I think with this shot of warm weather next week, we're all gonna be mowing our grass. So we'll bring on staff. We're constantly looking for seasonal help, so if anybody's out there listening, want a summer job, feel free to drop off an application at City of Hudson. But we have a couple of mowers that helped us out last year. They'll be coming back, so that'll be huge. And yeah, it's a busy time of season for us. And then obviously watching the river go down. And it's looking like the middle of next week, we should be able to set our docks and open for the season, the boat launch.
Nice.
So looking kind of 683 by the middle of next week, and we'll be able to open around there. So that's kind of the intent there. And that's all I have for you right now.
Good.
Any questions? No? Okay.
Anybody have anything for future agendas? The only thing I have is in August, the Bicycle Coalition would like to come in and talk to us about what they have planned for bicycle trails, us connecting with the counties and with, we'll see what goes on with the old trestle bridge at the dam. They're trying to work something there on that property to be able to cross. And so they'd just like to make a presentation to us to bring us up to speed with what's going on with that and where it might lead in the future.
Okay.
I've talked with a lot of people around town about the park system, and if they see anything, any needs, to just let me know.
Yeah.
Because we've been here 49 years, so we know a few people. I was talking to an old friend who's been in this town as many years, and he commented on what a wonderful park system we have in the city of Hudson, and he wanted me to thank the park board for all their hard work.
Nice.
His name's Ron Nycanon, good citizen,
Yeah.
active in the community, and just he and a lot of the group of older guys, they meet for coffee and all that. They recognize what's being done here, and they appreciate it.
Good.
So,
Good to hear.
We are lucky to have the parks we have.
Yeah.
We really do.
So-
The land that our forefathers set aside
Right.
oh yeah,
was really insightful.
incredible.
Yeah.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank all of you for
Thanks.
Thanks.
coming.
So Mike,